Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the retro Kenner style figure of Ripley from Aliens, made by NECA. NECA released this on Aliens Day, and if you don't know what Aliens Day is, we just had it. The planet that Alien and Aliens take place on, where they find the derelict ship, that planet is LV-426, 426, April 26. And this year's was the big one because it's the 30th anniversary of Aliens, so a lot of companies released some really cool Aliens and Alien merch that day. NECA released exclusively to Toys R Us this retro style figure. It's one of the few figures I actually bought twice. I don't always buy doubles, but I really dig the retro style packaging. So enough of my jibber jabber. Let's take a look at this figure. First off, let's take a quick look at the packaging, which does feature the old Kenner style like artwork on the front and back, including like when you could like punch out the little character card, but just like the use of green and yellow, you know, and that's like the layout of all the other NECA products you can get. Also, it includes a little comic book in there. You know, the original Kenner figures came with a comic book inside that was like rolled up, and they've kind of, you know, reproduced it essentially here. It's folded instead of rolled up, but this is a nice touch. I'm really glad they included this. This really takes me back to my childhood. Now this figure is a repaint of the regular NECA Aliens Ripley figure, just repainted with the color scheme of the classic Kenner figure. So you've got the Reebok Bug Stompers just painted yellow with the dark blue base, darker blue pants, black instead of silver watch, and then the burgundy shirt instead of the white, without the sweat stains kind of painted on. It's a cleaner figure. There's no dirt on the pants and all that. Also, they included the little handkerchief scarf around her neck, the neckerchief. I'm glad they included that because that is a new sculpt that they had to like attach to it. You know, sometimes with these redone figures, it's just a repaint without new elements added. So I'm glad that NECA didn't get lazy. They included that. So just taking a closer look at this, you can see that there are some pretty cool details within it as far as like the sculpt. If you've seen the other figure, you know it's got good texture to it all along the pants. And the shoes have a nice little fabric-y texture to it. The shirts have nice wrinkles. The scarf has like a two-tone effect to it. It's like a tan base with like a darker brown kind of wash in the crevices. So that looks good. This figure has it minimally, but there is like a little gray. You could kind of see it there on the sleeve. They added like a little subtle gray wash to the wrinkles to really kind of make them pop. A lot of these have like a darker gray wash that makes the shirt look kind of dirty. I kind of picked this one out because it had minimal gray. I kind of like that effect actually. It makes it look a little more cartoony. But yeah, there is normally a lot more gray on the boob area, the shoulder area, stuff like that. But it's the same articulation as the other figure. You got like the ball hinge at the shoulder. There's no bicep cut, but the elbow does have a hinge and a full swivel to it. Full swivel at the wrist. Ball joint at the top of the head. Now at the bottom end of the figure, we've got these ankle joints, which I believe are ball joints. They have full, you know, angular rotation. Same thing with the knees. Well, not same thing, but you got the knee joint, which has 360-degree rotation behind the knee, which makes up for the lack of a mid-thigh cut. But you do have good range of motion at the legs. You got full like ball joint at the legs and a waist cut right there at the waist. Now this figure comes with one accessory, and it's the smart gun, which I find to be an odd choice because the original figure in the Kenner series came with a flamethrower. Like, it was specifically a flamethrower. A little flame came out of the end of it. It plugged into the body and you could pivot it and the flame would come out. This is not at all a flamethrower. This is a smart gun that, you know, Vasquez uses. In fact, we are getting a Vasquez figure in September. Now, NECA, you know, likes to reuse things all the time. They take the same figures and they repaint them. And they'll also, you know, make Colonial Marines, and you get the same gun with each figure because it's more cost effective to reuse stuff. So NECA's not making a flamethrower for this figure. Why make one flamethrower for this one figure they're never going to use? So they took the Vasquez gun, they took some of the gack off it right here, and then they're just using that. And that's a bit of cost cutting, but that's also inaccurate to this figure. But I feel like I should also just shut up about that because it's nice just to have this figure, and she does have a gun that's similar size to that original flamethrower, but who are we kidding? This is not at all the kind of gun that she should come with, but it is nice, I guess, to have the smart gun. Despite my gripes about the smart gun, it's still the same general size as that flamethrower, so when you put it in her hands, you still get the general effect. And I gotta say, as a fan of the original, you know, Kenner series, I freaking love this figure. Obviously, I'm a diehard Aliens fan, and I grew up with that Kenner series, so I'm kind of biased to like this, but you know what? I'm really happy with how this turned out. I freaking love that original series. I don't care how cheesy it was with like the power loader with the tread feet, you know, and Bishop with all the cyborg gack on him, and Apone with his backwards hat, and he looks nothing like how Apone looked in the film. This brings me back to that whole era of toys that I loved collecting. One thing to be on the lookout for if you care about this sort of thing when you open it is the placement. You know, without the harness attachment, this gun has a tendency to like be a little bit wobbly in her right hand, and her left hand doesn't really grip the handle at all. So it does have a tendency to kind of drop down a bit, and when you push on the top left, it tilts the right. It's really hard to kind of get the figure in a decent pose without the gun drooping. But it took me a while, but I got it at just the right pressure point, but it's a bit wonky. Despite that though, you know, the nostalgia for this runs hard. I love it. I'm very happy with it. Thanks for watching, folks, and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff.